Hello, hello! This is Kevin, and man oh man, do I love my Xbox One. I mean, look at this thing. It's such a big piece of hardware, a really beefy powerhouse of a gaming machine. I mean, the graphics capabilities on this thing are just incredible. So many pixels on screen, full 1080p, consistently smooth frame rates. I mean, it's nothing compared to what that stupid Nintendo Switch can do. That's a baby console. It's got the baby games and the baby power. It doesn't have graphics. It can barely output a... I mean, that's only one...
You have graphs, you have picnics, schoolwork, and being outside. Two things gamers hate. Yet you put them together and what do you get? Graphics, every gamer's favorite buzzword. Want to justify a no-effort crash grab sequel? Graphics. Want a way to argue that all modern games are better than all retro games? Graphics. Want a way to spend over $1,000 on a single piece of electronic hardware? Graphics are one of the most important aspects of video games. They are the visual representation of the developer's ideas and the direct way the players experience the game. Without graphics, every video game would be nothing more than an ever-changing series of ones and zeros. Yet there are people that put the entire quality of a game on the visuals alone. If there is a single pixel visible on screen, it's automatically a bad game. And this isn't just consumers, this is developers, publishers, advertisers. Countless new games are marketed basically on just the visuals. Most new hardware is marketed only on how much the graphics of its games are improved. While I'm sure a lot of this thought process is based on humans' general obsession with trying to control and recreate the real world regardless of any substance and character that thing loses by being more realistic, I'm looking at you, Disney. I think there is an even bigger correlation between these thoughts and gaming specifically. Let's travel back in time to 1980. The game Adventure just came out for the Atari 2600, which is on top of the gaming world. And look at these graphics. Big, blocky, single-colored sprites, low frame rates, incredibly simplistic and choppy animations. There's basically no detail that can be portrayed here. I mean, look at this. This is a dragon? Are you sure this is a dragon? This lack of possible detail is a massive problem for developers at the time. How could they express ideas to players if there's no way to accurately visually represent them? Games literally could not be designed to be more complicated than this. And even with it being this simple, I had absolutely no idea what I was supposed to be doing. I just wandered around, found a glowy thing, and then went back to where I started, because what else was I supposed to do? Sure, the manual explained everything, but no one reads the manual. No one even kept the manual. The amount of visual detail needed to portray more complex ideas to players just wasn't possible. The hardware wasn't up to the task. Not only were the graphics incredibly simple, but that restricted the games themselves to be simple. Jumping forward to 1986, we had The Legend of Zelda for the NES. And look at these graphics. There's actually an environment now. There's trees, bushes, water, caves, mountains, multicolored sprites, a map, if you call this a map, an inventory, multiple types of enemies, text! There's actually text in the game! All of these allow for way more gameplay possibilities than what Adventure could have done. Bushes, burn them down with a torch. Water, cross it with a raft. Mountains, explode the sides to reveal a cave. Just having all of these items wouldn't be possible with the graphics of the 2600, let alone their interactivity. And there's actually a story that's not stuck in the manual. Granted, a badly translated story that straight up tells you to read the manual, but at least the game itself is able to tell you to go there. The graphical power of the NES not only allowed for better looking games, but games that could actually make things look like, well, actual things. I mean, look at this. What is this? Now this, I know exactly what it is. But still, graphics continued to improve. It's now 1991, and A Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past just came out for the Super Nintendo. And look at these graphics. Now there's actually a reasonable sense of depth. The entire game doesn't look like it's on one flat plane anymore. I mean, just compare this mountain from Zelda 1 to this little staircase in A Link to the Past. This is a massive change that allows areas to be way more complex. You can now walk under things you were walking on moments ago. There's all sorts of unique sprites. It's not just the same few dozen copied and pasted all over the place. There's houses, NPCs with individual dialogue, unique details, and obstacles that thematically fit the environment. The explodable walls are actually cracked now, thank you. And these are just the obvious ones. Even just these completely change the way the player can interact with the game world. It's gotten to a point where the game actually feels like it's presenting a real place to the player. I mean, there's a reason RPGs blew up during this generation. The graphical power finally allowed for immersive worlds and in-depth stories and unique characters. Those types of ideas just weren't possible to portray on the NES. Next, it's 1998, and we have The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Oh, you know, just the greatest game of all time? Do I really need to explain anything here? It's obvious, right? It's 3D! The 3D jump is not only the biggest graphical jump gaming has ever had, but it's also had the biggest gameplay consequences of any graphical jump. I mean, sure, A Link to the Past had a sense of depth, but now there actually is depth. You don't just move on a single plane, you can actually go up and down and all around. But it's also the last meaningful graphics upgrade. After this, we've hit the point of diminishing returns. Yes, graphics improved dramatically from this point on, but what more gameplay information can be portrayed in 2017's Breath of the Wild than in Ocarina of Time? I mean, just look at them. They're both 3D, behind-the-back games with wide open area to go exploring. Yeah, Breath of the Wild looks better, duh, but the graphics alone don't tell you anything about what new gameplay is possible. And compare that to the 3 earlier mentioned games, you can tell what new gameplay possibilities exist just solely based on the immediate visual information. And unfortunately, this doesn't just apply to 3D games. We're at this point with 2D games as well. Let's throw 2019's Cadence of Hyrule up there against A Link to the Past. It's the same situation. There's nothing immediately clear about what you can and cannot do between the two games just by looking at them.
Modern games are going to look better than retro games. That's largely just a fact. Time goes by, technology improves, graphics look better, games get bigger. Unfortunately, the importance of those changes just isn't the same as what it was. Games used to be able to tell you about what you would be doing based on their graphical upgrades from previous games. Each game used to stand out gameplay-wise because of what it looked like. Nowadays, it's largely homogenized. You have 3D games that all go for super smooth animation, or you have pixel art that is definitely better than back in the day, but not better enough to portray new gameplay ideas. Yeah, you have unique art styles that better portray the tone or story a game's trying to tell. The game can immerse you more in its world thanks to the graphics. But in terms of what you're doing, that correlation just doesn't exist anymore. Nowadays, all you have left to look forward to is
more detail, reducing load times.
Our custom design processor, 4 times more powerful, high bandwidth GDDR6,
resolution and frame rates that we've never seen before, 8K capability,
variable refresh rate,
next-gen ray tracing.
I'll take 20.
Thank you so much for watching. What do you guys think about video game graphics? Am I losing my mind over here and they're as important as they've ever been? Or am I on the right track and they really are less important than what they used to be? Let me know down in the comment section. And if you're looking forward to more content, why not hit that subscribe button? Until next time, see ya.